Just clearing the waiting room. Great. Good morning. This is the voting meeting before the licensing board for the city of Boston. Today is Thursday, August 25th, 2022. While the public is encouraged to attend, there will be no additional public testimony accepted this morning. We'll begin with the license premise inspection hearing, which occurred on Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022. Item number 1, Galway Inc. doing business as The Harp, located at 85 Causeway Street. Date of the incident, January 14th, 2022. Assault and battery, patron on patron, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A.
I see no violation here.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item number 2, Old Colonial Corporation doing business as Bell in Hand, located at 45 to 55 Union Street. Date of the incident, March 11th, 2022. Patron on patron, assault and battery, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. And you should have received videos submitted by attorney yesterday.
Thanks, Danny. The licensee cooperated. I felt this was a random altercation, and the licensee has, since this incident, has retrained their staff, has added additional staff on this second floor bathroom so that they can better monitor the comings and goings. It seemed like it was random and it was a bad actor. I didn't see any violation on the part of the licensee.
I agree.
Sorry, I think I was muted.
Yeah, yes, thank you. Item number 3 was continued at the request of the applicant and will be rescheduled to our next available hearing date. Item number 4, Villa Francesca's Inc. doing business as Francesca's, located at 150 Richmond Street. Date of the incident, April 1st, 2022. Indecent assault and battery, employee on patron, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64.
I see no violation.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item number 5, Highgate Hotels LP doing business as the Newbury Boston, located at 15 Arlington Street. Date of the incident, March 23rd, 2022. Patron on patron threats, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64.
After hearing the testimony about the timeline of events, I see no violation on the part of the licensee.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item number 6, Venture 66 LLC doing business as Halftime Pizza, located at 115 Causeway Street. Date of the incident, June 10th, 2022. Overcrowding, 238 mechanical count, capacity 145, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Board's Rule 1.03J and 1.06A and F, and no entertainment license posted.
I think this was a foreseeable event, and it was foreseeable that they would have this crowd. They did not even have any staff taking count. I see a violation.
I saw a violation as well.
I agree.
So my vote on this one is for a written warning.
Sounds good.
Yes, there was that. There's no history with them.
No, this is a recent transfer. They just assumed this license in November of this past year, so there's no history here.
Got it.
All right, so the vote for number 6 is a violation with a written warning. Item number 7, Venture 66 LLC doing business as Halftime Pizza. This is the same licensee, location at 115 Causeway Street. Date of the incident, June 16th, 2022. Premise allowing admission after third quarter, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. Gambling taking place on premise, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. And overcrowding, 202 mechanical count, 145 capacity, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Board's Rule 1.03J and 1.06A and F.
So this is 6 days later. They were still not counting people coming into the door. This was now the NBA finals. We had emailed an advisory to licensee. However, they said we emailed it to the wrong person. After a conversation with Captain Chicolo yesterday, it was confirmed that on June 14th, Police Officer Frank Champa personally hand-delivered a copy of the advisory to the licensee. So I am not persuaded that they were not aware that they were not allowed to allow people in after the third quarter. And again, with this gross overcrowding and the strain it placed on the resources, in addition to their lack of cooperation with the licensed premise unit when they showed up, I see a violation.
did not credit their testimony that they didn't know. I think it was clear they knew and had conversations with their landlord who was somehow directing their operations, which I'm also concerned with. I saw violations on all 3 counts.
I agree as well.
So taking each count separately, premise allowing admission after the 3rd quarter, I see a violation and I would vote for a written warning on that one. Gambling taking place on the premise, I see a violation and I would vote for a written warning on that one.
Yes.
For the overcrowding, I see a violation and my vote is for a 1-day suspension.
I agree.
I agree.
So, okay, thank you. So the vote is for a violation on all 3 counts, a written warning on the first 2, and a 1-day suspension on the overcrowding.
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 8 was continued at the request of the applicant and the licensee and will be rescheduled to the next available hearing date. Moving on to the transactional hearing, which occurred yesterday, Wednesday, August 24th, 2022. Item number 1, Madras Dosa Company, Inc., doing business as Madras Dosa Company, located at 55 Boston Wharf Road, has petitioned to amend their hours of operation to Sunday to Thursday, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m., and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 3 a.m.
I think this is a great concept for this neighborhood. This is a Indian takeout place in a neighborhood that has bars that say open till 2 a.m. There was not a lot of opposition except for from the city councilors. He's been in business for 1 year. I support the extension of hours from Sunday to Thursday till 2 a.m. I would support an extension of hours on Friday and Saturday to 2 a.m. and suggest that he build a track record. He build strong relationships with the neighbors and he could come back and reapply in 6 months.
That sounds good.
Sounds reasonable.
Okay.
So the vote is to allow a 2 a.m. closing 7 days a week and encourage the applicant to reapply in the future should he seek to extend further.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 2, In-House Cafe Company, doing business as In-House Cafe, located at 132 Chestnut Hill Ave in Brighton, has applied for a common victular license to be exercised on the above. Manager Ahmed Dairy, hours of operation 6 a.m. to 12 a.m.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
Item number 3, Shamrock Boston LLC, doing business as Shamrock Pub, located at 501 East 8th Street in South Boston, has petitioned to change the manager of the licensed business to John Lydon.
I believe the applicant proved that John Lydon has the appropriate character and fitness to be a manager of record, so I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree.
Item 4, the Institute of Contemporary Art, Inc., located at 25 Harbor Shore Drive, has petitioned to change the manager of the licensed business to Emily Pacini.
I believe the applicant demonstrated that Emily Pacini has the appropriate character and fitness to be a manager of record, and I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree.
Item 5, Select Hospitality LLC, located at 314 Newbury Street, has petitioned to change the DBA of the licensed business to Little Whale Oyster Bar.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree.
Items 6 and 7, Diamond Rock Boston Broad Street Tenant LLC, doing business as Hilton Boston Downtown Faneuil Hall, located at 89 Broad Street, and Diamond Rock Boston Tenant LLC, doing business as Weston Boston Waterfront, located at 425 Summer Street, has petitioned for a change in officers, directors of the corporation.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 8, Patina Boss LLC, doing business as Banners Kitchen and Tap and Hub Hall, featuring Momo-san Ramen by Morimoto, located at 80 to 82 Causeway Street, has petitioned for a change of officers, directors.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 9, PF Chang's China Bistro, Inc., doing business as PF Chang's China Bistro, located at 8 Park Plaza, has petitioned for a change of officers, directors.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Items 10, 11, and 12, Colon Management, Inc., doing business as AC Hotel by Marriott South End, located at 225 Albany Street in Roxbury, Cullen Management Inc. doing business as Residence Inn by Marriott South End, Boston, located at 2001 Washington Street in Roxbury. And Cullen Management Inc. doing business as AC Hotel by Marriott Cleveland Circle, located at 395 Chestnut Hill Ave in Brighton, has petitioned for a change in officers directors of the corporation. And the location at 395 Chestnut Hill Ave has also petitioned to change the manager to Christopher James Martin.
On 10 and 11, I vote to approve the change of officers and directors.
I agree.
On 12, I vote to approve the change of officers and directors, and I believe that the applicant demonstrated that Mr. Matheson has the appropriate character and fitness to be approved as a manager of record.
Agree.
I agree as well.
Item 13, Silver Nickel LLC doing business as Union Park Pizza located at 1403 Washington Street has petitioned to change the location of the licensed business to 244 Newbury Street.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 14, High Street TRS LLC doing business as High Street Place located at 100 High Street has petitioned to amend the description of the licensed business to in one large room on ground floor of 100 High Street and 160 Federal Street, 24 designated vendor spaces, dedicated restrooms and seating areas, 200 seats throughout entire food hall area of 18,265 square feet, with annual outdoor patio on private property with seating for 84 persons, 1,641 square feet, and an 11 p.m. patio closing hour.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 15, Bunker Hill Restaurant LLC doing business as Monument Diner located at 231 Bunker Hill Street in Charlestown has petitioned to transfer the license and the location from the above to 10 City Square LLC located at 10 City Square in Charlestown. 10 p.m. patio closing hour, general closing hour 1 a.m. Eric Allenbach, manager.
I believe the applicant demonstrated that Mr. Allenbach has the appropriate character and fitness to serve as a manager of record at this location. And I vote to approve the transfer and to approve him as manager of record.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 16, 429 Broadway LLC doing business as Certified Meatball Company located at 429 West Broadway in South Boston has petitioned to transfer the license and the location from the above to Bunker Hill Restaurant LLC doing business as Waverly located at 231 Bunker Hill Street in Charlestown. Midnight closing hour, Jonathan Sweeney, manager.
I believe the applicant demonstrated that Mr. Sweeney has the appropriate character and fitness to serve as manager of record at this location. So I vote to approve the transfer and approve him as the manager of record.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 17, Boston Athletic Club, Inc., doing business as Boston Athletic Club, has petitioned to transfer the license and the location from the above to 429 Broadway LLC, located at 429 West Broadway in South Boston, closing hour 1 a.m. Nicholas Peter Dixon, manager.
Thanks, Danny. This applicant has proposed Mr. Dixon as a manager of record. I believe he has the appropriate character and fitness to serve as manager of record. So I vote to approve this transfer to this location and to approve Mr. Dixon as the manager.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 18, Gordon's Fine Wine and Liquors of Boston, Inc., located at 37 Temple Place, has petitioned to transfer the license from the above to Massachusetts Fine Wines and Spirits LLC at the same location. Jennifer Mason, manager, closing hour 11 p.m.
Danny, we already approved Ms. Mason as manager of record, correct? At the last hearing. Is this the one that just needed to be re-noticed?
No, that is not this one. Sorry,
Okay.
No.
Sorry, my mistake. I believe that Ms. Mason has the appropriate character and fitness to serve as manager of record. I vote to approve the transfer and to approve her as manager.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item number 19, 842 Beacon Street Liquors LLC, doing business as Shippey's Warehouse Wine and Spirits, located at 842 Beacon Street, has petitioned to transfer the license from the above to Shippey's Inc., doing business as Beacon Street Liquors at the same location. Janessa Patel, manager, closing hour 11 p.m., and has petitioned to pledge the license and inventory to Rockland Trust Company.
I believe Ms. Patel meets the requirements to serve as manager of record. She has appropriate character and fitness. I vote to approve the transfer. I vote to approve the pledge, and I vote to approve her.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item number 20, Jonathan B. Harker doing business as Italian Express Pizzeria located at 336 Sumner Street in East Boston. Has petitioned to transfer the license and the location from the above to Cowlin Hot Pot Boston LLC doing business as Cowlin Hot Pot. This was advertised incorrectly with an address. The correct address is 392 to 398 Cambridge Street in Alston. Closing hours 10 p.m., weekends 11 p.m. Sun Yang, manager. It will need to be re-advertised and re-noticed. The board can still decide to vote today should they decide to.
Thanks, Danny. I'm satisfied with the public process that the applicant went through. That with the community support, the defect in the notice isn't sufficient for me to not vote on it today. I believe that Mr. Yang has the appropriate character and fitness to serve as a manager of record at this location. My vote would be to approve the transfer to this location and to approve Mr. Yang as manager. I would grant both these changes, but we wouldn't issue the license until it was re-advertised and re-noticed.
I agree.
Sounds reasonable.
Great, and we will see this coming back on a future agenda just to correct the defect in the notice and the advertisement. Item 21, High Street LLC, located at 200 High Street, has petitioned to transfer the license and the location from the above to Parm Copley LLC, doing business as Parm, located at 100 Huntington Avenue, Suite K006A. 11 p.m. patio closing hour, 2 a.m. closing hour indoors, Angela Cortese, manager, and has also petitioned to pledge the license to Copley Place Associates LLC.
Okay, thank you. I believe Ms. Cortese appeared before us, but anyways,
was the one.
the applicant has demonstrated she has appropriate character and fitness to serve as manager of record. I would vote to approve this transfer and to approve her.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 22, TDC Heritage Holdings LLC, located at 91 Park Plaza, has petitioned to transfer the license from the above to LSF Park Square LLC, doing business as Legal Seafoods at the same location, Ralph Constantine, manager, closing hour 2 a.m., and has petitioned to pledge the license to Northern Bank and Trust.
The applicant demonstrated that Mr. Constantine has the appropriate character and fitness to serve as manager of record. My vote would be to approve him, to approve the pledge, and to approve the transfer of this license.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 23 has been continued at the request of the applicant to complete the community process. It will be heard at the September 14th transactional hearing. Item 24, Fresh Food Generation LLC, doing business as Fresh Food Generation, located at 195 Talbot Ave in Dorchester, has applied for a BYOB license to be exercised on the above. Cassandra Campbell, manager, closing time 8 p.m.
Ms. Campbell has appeared before us when she applied for a beer and wine license. We approved her as manager of record then, and she's now before us again for a BYOB license. My vote would be to approve this license and to again approve her. I believe she has the appropriate character and fitness to serve as manager of record.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 25, Peabody E-Market Inc., doing business as E-Market, located at 4 Park Plaza, has applied for a retail package store wines and malt beverages license to be exercised on the above. Manager Emad Henoui, closing time 11 p.m.
I believe Mr. Henoui has the appropriate character and fitness to serve as manager of record. There's a lot of support for this application. My vote would be to approve it and to approve him as manager.
I agree.
I agree as well.
And item 26, Ray Family Enterprises LLC, doing business as Comfort Kitchen, located at 611 Columbia Road in Dorchester, has applied for a common victualler 7-day all alcoholic beverages license to be exercised on the above. 10 p.m. closing hour, manager Bipla Kirat Ray.
Mr. Ray was before us yesterday. I believe he has the appropriate character and fitness and experience to serve as manager of record at this exciting location. This is a minority-owned business going into a vacant building that's been vacant for a long time. I think it will activate this neighborhood. And he's looking to open up the first week of October. My vote would be to grant this application pending the availability of a license for which he qualifies and to also approve him as manager of record.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Okay, moving on to non-hearing transactions. Following are applying for a new common victular license at a previously licensed location. Item 1, Sign of LLC doing business as Zaruma Gold Coffee located at 45 Court Street. Maria Takori, manager of record, hours of operation 6 a.m. to 7 p.m.
I vote to approve.
I vote to approve as well.
I agree.
Item 2, Huang's Restaurant Inc. doing business as New Hong Kong located at 14 Tremont Street. Zhang Nang Fan, manager of record, hours of operation 11 a.m. to 2 a.m.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree.
Item 3, The Juicery LLC doing business as The Juicery located at 700 Commonwealth Ave. Alex Vandermark, manager of record, hours of operation 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 4, Blank Street 282 Cambridge Street, Boston LLC, doing business as Blank Street Coffee located at 282 Cambridge Street. Letitia Gordon Ruiz, manager of record, hours of operation Monday to Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
And item 5, Chokdi Rumrai Mung Kong Inc. doing business as Thai Oishi located at 203 Adam Street in Dorchester. Porichaya Tawino, manager of record, hours of operation Monday to Saturday, 11:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sundays, 12 p.m. to 9:30 p.m.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Following have applied to make changes to their existing common victular licenses. Items 1 and 2, Julian's Cheesecakes Inc. doing business as Finagle a Bagel, located at 535 Boylston Street and 277 Cambridge Street, has petitioned to change the manager to Marcelo Matias.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 3, Yummy Pie Inc. doing business as Domino's Pizza, located at 464 Washington Street in Brighton, has petitioned to change the corporation name to Brighton Pie Inc.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 4, Castle Island C2H LLC doing business as Castle Island Brewing Company, located at 10 Old Colony Ave in South Boston, has petitioned for a management agreement between Castle Island C2H LLC and Lombardo's of Randolph Inc. This is for the food service portion of their license only.
Okay. I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Items 5 through 42, Starbucks Coffee Company doing business as Starbucks Coffee at 38 locations across the city. These are corporate changes. We won't go through each one of them individually. It's all the same transaction. They are petitioning to change the corporate name to Starbucks Corporation, to change the manager to Daniel Brennan Jr., and to add 2 officers, Jandy Gamboa and Cynthia Sliva.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Following is applied to make changes to an existing in-holders license. Cohen Management Inc., doing business as the Midtown Hotel located at 220 Huntington Ave, has petitioned for a change of officers. This is the addition of David Revich as CFO.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Following have applied for amendments to their existing license. These are one-day amendments. Item 1, the Cato to Fair Inc., doing business as the Cato to Fair at the Boston Public Library at 700 Boylston Street, has applied for a one-day amendment to include a 30-minute wedding ceremony, a cocktail reception until 8:30 p.m., bar service after dinner from 10:30 p.m. to 1:30 a.m., and all guests out by 2:30 a.m.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 2, the Charles River Speedway, located at 1420 to 1440 Soldiers Field Road in Brighton, has applied for a one-day amendment for a Labor Day block party to include the pavers area only, and they will demarcate the area between their premise and another licensed premise, Notch Brewing. This is September 4th between 12 and 5 p.m.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item number 3, Florian Associates doing business as Florian Hall, located at 55 Hallett Street, has applied for a one-day amendment for an Oktoberfest to include serving beer in their enclosed parking lot contiguous to their licensed premise on September 18th from 12 to 6 p.m.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Item 4, Shawmut Hudson LLC, doing business as Trillium, located at 401 Park Drive, has applied for a one-day amendment for an Oktoberfest event to include 3,500 square feet of lawn space. This is September 17th from 12 to 6 p.m. and September 18th from 12 to 4 p.m.
Vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
The application for item 5 has been withdrawn as the event is no longer going forward. And item 6, Black Bottle Wines LLC, doing business as Coruscant Wines, located at 899 Congress Street, has applied for a one-day amendment to include the sidewalks bordering the driveway and under the Aura building. These are contiguous to their premise for a wine, beer, and spirits tasting for their grand opening on September 17th from 4 to 8 p.m.
I vote to approve.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Board has before them a list of special one-day applications which have been administratively reviewed by staff and approved by the board. And we have one item on old and new business to vote on today. Item number 1, the board did defer disposition of the following to allow the applicant to submit an operations plan for the board's review. This is a transfer from Bedford Dining Inc., doing business as the White Horse Tavern, located at 116 to 120 Brighton Ave in Alston. Petition to transfer the license to Full Revolution LLC at the same location. Derek Brady, manager, 2 a.m. closing hour.
Thanks, Danny. And we did receive that operations plan from the applicant. Just for purposes of the public record today, Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 12, requires that before we issue a license to any applicant, the local licensing authority shall cause an examination to be made that the applicant is of a person of good character. Chapter 138, Section 26 states that the manager must be satisfactory to the licensing authorities. In this case, Derek Brady is both the applicant as an 83% owner of the license and the proposed manager of record. In order to approve this transfer, the board would need to find that Mr. Brady is a person of satisfactory and good character to the board. In the application, Mr. Brady disclosed an ownership interest in 6 Boston licensed premises, as well as 2 outside of Boston. In the application, question 6C requires a disclosure of any disciplinary actions at any licensed premise in which he has an interest. Mr. Brady disclosed various actions at Metro Dining, which he later states in the application is his place of employment since 2006, and disclosed various actions at West End Dining and specific actions from Causeway Union and Center Group LLC. Upon review of the licensing board's docket for Metro Dining, I questioned why the ABCC voted to suspend his license at Metro Dining for 100 days in 2012. He answered at the public hearing that he failed to submit or disclose some information. That was not included on his application to us. He failed to submit that. Mr. Brady then testified that he submitted the information that was missing and paid a $73,000 fine. On the ABCC application for this transfer, question 6 asks whether any of the individuals proposed as officers or who will have a direct or indirect financial or beneficial interest in the license have ever been convicted of a state, federal, or military crime. Question 12B similarly asks whether the proposed manager of record has ever been convicted of a state, federal, or military crime. Mr. Brady has a financial interest in the licenses and is the proposed manager of record. On both questions asking about his criminal history, the no box has been checked. Derek Brady's signature appears on the application underneath the words, "I hereby swear under the pains and penalties of perjury that the information I provided in this application is true and accurate." The application contains a full-page applicant statement, which reads in part, Section 9, "I understand that any false statement or misrepresentation will constitute cause for disapproval of the application or sanctions, including revocation of any license for which this application is submitted." Upon review of the public hearing, I requested information from the ABCC of this application. It turns out that in 2012, the ABCC had an opportunity to review Mr. Brady's conduct in filling out another application for the transfer of a license. In this instance, the ABCC found that similar to the application before us today, Mr. Brady had not disclosed his criminal record. He subsequently filed an affidavit with details of his past criminal record and satisfied the ABCC. This is a material non-disclosure. He was not honest at the public hearing when I asked why he received a 100-day suspension and later paid a $73,000 fine. For this and other reasons, I cannot approve him as manager of record, and I cannot approve this transfer. Joyce?
So I'm not aware of any of this. So what you're saying is that the ABCC has informed you that he has a criminal record?
No, what I'm saying is he lied, or he has not been honest in his application before us to say that he had a criminal record. He checked off that he didn't. Upon my
in fact, does.
he does have a criminal record. And in 2012, he submitted an affidavit explaining the criminal record, which is old, but he did not submit that affidavit to us. So
Yes.
I believe he swore on the pains and penalties of perjury that his application before us was true and accurate, and it is not.
And this was the non-disclosure of the criminal record was in fact why he received that lengthy inspection.
Yes, and he did not share that at the public
So
hearing.
therefore, I think I would agree with you that it's to not disclose at this time, like, cannot be even seen to be an accident of any sort.
Right. And he didn't, and when it pressed about it, at the time I wasn't aware of it, but when pressed upon at the public hearing, he omitted some information. I think it would have been satisfactory if he had checked off yes and submitted an affidavit. It would have been satisfactory if he had testified at the hearing that he did have an old public record, but at the end he checked off no, he signed the application, but it was misrepresented and it was signed on the pains and penalties of perjury.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, with that information presented, I would be uncomfortable saying yes as well. So I also want to be clear on what I'm basing it on. The non-disclosure of the action, the lengthy action taken by the ABCC also did not appear in our application, on this application.
Right, it did not.
Okay. All right, based on both of those non-disclosures on our application, I would be uncomfortable saying yes at this point without, yeah, I mean, I think we've already had our hearing, he already had his chance to speak, so I agree.
Yeah, I've been on the board since 2014 and we've always appreciated candor and honesty. And so I think that this is a natural consequence of not being honest.
Thank you. So the vote is, just so I'm clear, it sounds like the vote is to reject this transfer. Is that correct? And
Yes.
is this a rejection with or without prejudice?
I vote to reject it with prejudice. He can come back in a year
Sounds good.
for that.
Sure.
Vote is to reject this application with prejudice. Thank you all. Those are all the items before the board today. That will adjourn this voting hearing. Thank you, everybody.